Right, hello there everyone and welcome back to another video. I'm going to try and do this in one take as it is currently 9:30 again, and I always end up recording the videos at 9:30 when they're meant to be up by 7, so I did yesterday's video today and it was uploaded at 7. You can find that in the card there or there, who knows where. But now, for today's video technically, I'm going to be reviewing this Time Lord Victorious, The Knight, The Fool and The Dead. Now I'm going to be doing a spoiler-free section, and then I'll say when I go into spoilers. I've been organised. I actually made notes of the spoiler-free. I'm actually really proud of myself. But for the spoiler-free section, so for starters, Brian the Ood. In fact, he is on the cover. There he is. But Brian the Ood, he's such an interesting character because when you think of an Ood, you tend to think of them in captivity, and that's generally what stories of the Ood involve. However, in this, there's the first error in the video. He is his own character, and his character is a psychopath. I won't go into why until later, but he really is great, and he's one of my favourite Universe characters, just after a few contributions to this event. And yeah, in fact, no, wait, he's on my wall. I didn't even click, he's there. So yeah, I have the t-shirt, I have that. I have the book, I have the next book, well, sort of. So in the other video, I did an unboxing of All Flesh is Grass, which is the second book in this series. And I was very excited, and in the unboxing you'll see it arrived just a little, but it arrived damaged, so it's packaged up downstairs and it's going to get replaced tomorrow. However, back on topic. So, Brian the Ood's character is great. He is absolutely loopy, which is it's fun, especially to see how he works with the 10th Doctor in his current state in this story. Now, throughout this book, there are they breaks? Are they called breaks? That's interludes. They're called interludes. I went, why do I do it? Thing is, there's no reason for me to go, but I do it anyway. But yeah, anyway. So, there are these interludes, and it makes up its own story, which is part of the story. It's like, it builds up a metaphor, in a way, of a key thing in the story of this book. And it builds up throughout the whole story of the Doctor so far. So you've got stuff on William Hartnell all the way up to Paul McGann's Doctor. It's just really interesting to see how the events of this event, they've been building up for years. Even if they didn't know it, they have been. Like, generally in this book, it's got a great plot line. It's fun. Well, fun. I wouldn't say it's quite twisted. It's a dark book. It's very easy. I don't usually read books. They announced the BBC books as, I think it might be the first announcement in Time Lord Victorious they made. However, I was a little sceptical whether to get them because I hadn't read a book in years, other than in school. So I was a little unsure. In the end, I decided to, and I read the first book in about a week, which for me is very good, especially with school and everything. So I got home, I read. I'm a slow reader, so it did take me a good week of it, but it's simple. There's only a few complicated things in it, and that's mostly just names, and you can kind of get away with that. I mean, in the book, there are plot twists. There aren't many, as it is a relatively short book. It's, how long is it? 170 something pages, I think. Yeah, 178 pages, and it is brilliantly done. It's got two main plot twists, I think, but they're big plot twists. There's always little ones throughout. And without going into the full details of it, this very much is set after the Waters of Mars. So if you haven't seen the Waters of Mars, there's a big thing that happens to the Doctor at the end of that story. I won't say what, but something big happens and the impact of that kind of got dropped in the main show for years, and then this event is picking it up, and it's just showing the scarring it leaves on the Doctor. I mean, like I said, it was relatively short, a book. It wasn't boring at any point. That's the beauty of it, but it wasn't too simple. It was a simple plot with lots of detail, so it was good. And just to kind of wrap up the spoiler-free section, I would strongly recommend that you get this. It's possibly my favourite Doctor Who book, and I've done a book collection, so I have quite a few. I've not read a lot of them, but including the comics and everything, this might be my favourite contribution to the book expanded media. So yeah. And now on to spoilers. So if you've not read it, or if you don't want to know anything, click away now. To start with a nice throughout the story, the Doctor is very much trying to avoid the evil of being the Time Lord Victorious, and every now and then he gets this sort of like PTSD sort of thing, where it flashbacks to the street where Adelaide Brooke committed suicide. And it's really interesting to see how that scarred the Doctor, because in the main show, when people die, the Doctor's shocked, but he moves on, as Capaldi's Doctor says. So it's really interesting to see that the Doctor does grieve, and he is affected by this. I mean, the creature in this book, the Cthulhu, I believe they pronounce it as in Big Finish, they're very interesting. It's quite political in a discreet way, so there's arguments throughout this book. So the Cthulhu, they allocate lifespans for species, and the debate throughout this is that part of the normal development of history, or are these creatures that are going and messing up with time and the natural order of things? And the question of that isn't fully answered in this book. It may be looked into in All Flesh is Grass, and from the looks of things it is. But especially with the cliffhanger, with the other two Doctors showing up, basically telling the Doctor to not commit genocide, it's really interesting, because even the Doctor, his past incarnations have different views to his current one, and it's really interesting to see how that impacts the story. Even though the other Doctors were in it for, 5 pages-ish? Like, I've not read it in over a month, so that might be an inaccurate number, but they weren't in it for long. And, I mean, the cliffhanger was superb. Possibly my favourite cliffhanger in Expanded Universe. Like I said, it's a great book. But when I say Expanded Universe, this is now including Big Finish. The cliffhanger, like, I was flicking through the pages, and I looked to the right, expecting there to be another page of text, and there wasn't. It just said, in fact, let me just, because this won't ruin the book or anything, it says, if I just do this discreetly, find out what happens next in Doctor Who Time Lord Victorious All Flesh is Grass, or Grass, depending on where you're from, by Una McCormack, publishing in December 2020. And I remember my head going, what? And I was just sat there in shock for about 5 minutes, just processing what had just happened. The Doctor had just said to commit genocide. He said fire, the book ended, and you're just like, huh? So it was so well done, and I thought it was a powerful ending. In this book there were some very emotional scenes. I've forgotten the side characters' names as I read it when it came out in September. Oh, in that case it's been more than a month. September, October? I can't remember. It was right near the beginning, so I presume it would be September. But it's the character, because remember, most of the characters get killed off in this. The way that the impact of that affects the Doctor, and all these little things are building up and building up and building up, and the anger is just getting higher and higher and higher and higher, until he basically just reaches the breaking point right up here. And then by the end of the book, he's like there. And the question is, how do the other Doctors and like actually get him back, because the Doctor has basically become the villain here, and it's powerful to see how that happens throughout the book. It's the design of the Cthulhu, like on the artwork and stuff. This is my one flaw with the artwork for this whole event. They look like they're described in the book as these terrifying crystal creatures, but when they're drawn, they just look really kind of cute and funny, almost like jelly, little bits of jelly cut up, which for me ruins it, because when I'm reading it, I'm just thinking of these jelly squids, which they are kind of squiddy things, but it doesn't quite work for me. And that's pretty much my only complaint, though. It was a really strong book, and then throughout the book, Brian, well, as I said, Brian is a psychopath, and he is an assassin. But when I was thinking about it more and more, I was thinking, is Brian working with someone, or is he working by his own agenda to actually make the Doctor a villain? Because as this is going on, I'm starting to question if he is just psycho, or if he has actually got a goal in mind, because they recently released Minds of Magnox, I think you pronounce it like that. I haven't read it yet. I have it on my shelf, and I need to read it. But yeah, I'm questioning how Brian's character is going to play out in this. Is he going to get killed off? Is he going to be kind of left open-ended to maybe return later on in the expanded universe? I don't know. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I'd rate this a 10 out of 10 probably. It was really good, but in fact I was going to wrap up the video, but I do need to quickly say, like I said, excluding the Cthulhu design, I think that the artwork of this book is superb. Lee Binding, I believe, did this one. Absolutely brilliant. So it's like the Day of the Doctor hair, which does work, bearing in mind this is set before Day of the Doctor, I believe. There you go. And then you got the spine. I'm trying to do this, but it's like mirrored. Well, for me, it's mirrored. And then you've got the blurb. You and the child are the last of your kind. You have flown so far, but your flight has ended now. Then there's the Cthulhu, which for me, it just doesn't work. And yeah. So, would I recommend you buy it? Yes. I think it's sold for £8.19 on Amazon at the minute. I'd say it's worth the money. If you want to wait, by all means you can. You can probably get it second hand by now on Amazon, fairly cheap. But yeah, I'd recommend it. I'd say it's worth the money and it's worth the time. But yeah, thank you all for watching this video. Remember to I was actually really proud of myself because I hadn't messed up much. Try again. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all next video. Goodbye.